No, in fact, I'm pretty sure that even people on the Groyper right who believe in fully closed borders and completely deporting everybody who isn't a U.S. citizen, even many of them probably wouldn't be against someone just coming to visit as a vacation in a voluntary association with somebody else who already lives here.
Yeah. In the Groyper future, people are gonna go to Nazi America. Yeah, gonna get killed. Yeah, dude. If Groypers control the country, I'm sure that everybody is gonna want a vacation here. Yeah, man. This video is by Mentis Wave. It's called "The Thing About Border Policies That Few Understand." But Mentis Wave does,
Hey,
I'm
Internets,
sure.
this video is going to go over a nuance about border policies that just about everybody doesn't notice, which is that depending on what ideology or what political faction a person belongs to, when they say open borders or closed borders, they may not actually mean open borders or closed borders. And because of this, there's a lot of people out there who may believe in closed borders, but they don't actually believe in closed borders at all. And there's a lot of people out there who think that they believe in open borders and think that they should support open borders policies, but they actually don't. That may sound confusing, so let me put it this way. What I'm alluding to here is the fact that the libertarian position on open borders and the bordertarian or closed libertarian position, the position that I usually tend to lean towards, as well as even most of, but definitely not all, but most of the general standard conservative arguments for closed borders, all three of those positions are actually much closer to each other, both ideologically and in function, than the far left position on open borders. And that may not be too surprising for the bordertarian and the bog-servative position, but for a lot of people out there, especially some for the ways that conservatives tend to view the open borders libertarian position, I believe a lot of people would be pretty surprised to know that they're actually closer to the libertarian position on open borders than they are to the far left, progressive, and in some ways communist positions on open borders. And the reason for this is hard to get to, but fairly simple once you understand it, which is that the far left, the commies, they don't actually believe in open borders, or at least not in the same sense in the way that the word borders is defined by, say, somebody who is a Rothbardian on the libertarian right might define borders as. No, what they believe in is something completely different, and it's something you may have noticed if you watched my previous video, specifically my video on second thought, how commies kind of take this strategy, this rhetoric of just calling everybody a Nutzi based on things that don't actually make any sense. But
yeah, man, I'll tell you what leftists believe in this country when it comes to borders. We think that it should be easier to immigrate here. The process has way too much red tape. It's much too difficult. It's already hard enough to uproot yourself, right? Gather the funds to move to a new place. Add on top of that years of waiting, and you know, just for a yes or no. It's a terrible system, and it's only gotten worse.
I think some people may have also noticed with that is how he kind of just pretended to be taking the moral high ground against ICE, as if he believes in open borders. And you can tell that it's not true because a communist, when they basically say that they believe in open borders, when the far left says that they believe in open borders, there's something that they don't say, which is that never comes packaged with any attempt whatsoever to actually reduce the state, which means they're talking about something completely different. Because those libertarians who believe in open borders, their position is actually fairly straightforward and fairly easy to understand, in that they just view the state's claim to land as illegitimate and based on aggression, and more particularly in contradiction to private claims to land, thus claiming that it contradicts private property rights. Or perhaps if you read this comment from that video I made on second thought, it might make a bit more sense. From a sponge boy, the main difference between
Donut says, I'm in California, lots of palm trees. That's cool, man. Are you having fun?
a private border and a state border is that if I want to invite someone to my house, I can do that. But if it's a state border, I can't do that.
Woo.
Why should other people have more of a say over what I do with my own property if it leans dangerously close to collectivism if you accept state borders as legitimate? Or in other words, the libertarian position is really just a abolish the state position. That's really just the logical conclusion of it, which actually isn't technically wrong. The problem comes down to how do we get there and understanding the actual state of geopolitics and how the dynamics and systems and how they actually operate. And mainly in how what politicians say they want to do and what they actually want to do. And what many people claim that their ideology wants them to do and those moral high grounds that they claim to take, well, it's all completely fake. Because of course communists, they don't actually believe in private property rights. So where exactly are they getting their open borders rhetoric from? And the answer is they don't actually mean open borders when they say open borders. When they criticize ICE, they're not actually criticizing ICE from any kind of principled position. In fact, they're not even really criticizing it honestly in any way.
Yeah, we are, man. ICE is, ICE isn't even immigration enforcement, right? They just aren't. They are, murderers. They are gang members with zero accountability. Yeah, went to church, didn't want to, but it wasn't too long. Then we went to the Cheesecake Factory.
They're essentially pretending to believe in property rights when they don't. Rather, if you seriously examine what those on the far left are actually pushing, and ignore the rhetoric that they've adopted, but instead look at what the policies they go for actually do. Or in other words, remember the mantra, the purpose of a system is what it does. When you keep that in mind and look at what they're doing, what they're actually going for is just global hegemony. Because if you expand the state to that of the entire planet, then technically, yes, pedantically, you can say that there are no borders, because, you know, it's a sphere, so there's no borders there.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah. The commies are the real imperialists, yeah. Never heard that one before.
There you go. No borders. Such open borders, much wow. But this is, of course, completely ridiculous because the state is still able to contradict private property claims. Or in other words, removing the state borders without also reducing the state's jurisdiction does absolutely nothing to the property rights dispute. In fact, you technically could have a world run by this communist hegemony where they have built their communist cage around the entire planet, where there are, you know, technically, pedantically, no borders because it's a sphere again, and the state would still exist and tell you who you can and cannot have as a guest in your own home. Because, of course, they would own your house. It wouldn't be your house. So you wouldn't even have property to even begin the claim to freedom of association. The issue of who owns the property and who owns the land, and thus who can dictate who can be there, that hasn't actually been resolved in this case. And so, of course, obviously, this isn't what the Rothbardians want. But unfortunately, this is what people don't really think about when they think about border policies. They don't really take a good hard look at what it actually does, what this system that's being set up is actually going to do.
Dude, stop fucking spitting into your mic. Jesus Christ. Let's go back. Let's go back and do that again.
That hasn't actually been resolved in this case. And so, of course, obviously, this isn't what the Rothbardians want. But unfortunately, this is what people don't really think about when they think about border policies. They don't really take a good hard look at what it actually does, what this system that's being set up is actually going to do. A system that allows more migrants to move in, but doesn't actually resolve this property rights dispute, and instead uses the increased population size to justify increasing the size and scope of the state. Well, that's not really open borders at all. So it's not open borders that the communists want, it's open enrollment into state socialist programs, which is then used to justify increased funding for those programs, but those programs would obviously still require a police state or aggressive force of some type in order to extract the resources for those programs to work. Or in other words, when you see communists like Second Thought trying to take a moral high ground against ICE, what's really going on there is very simple. He's just lying to you. That's it. He's just lying. Now, sure, of course, it won't be called an immigrant problem, and it won't be called ICE or anything like that if a communist regime ever manages to take over the entire world, but there will still necessarily be some kind of aggressive force that tells you what you're allowed to do with your property, and based on what the centralized communist state apparatus tells you you can do. Meaning that the extraction of resources from the productive to the non-productive class is something that they very much will be continuing, and of course actually massively increasing. And thus the police state, which they pretend to be complaining about, will of course be massively increased as well. And that's what needs to be looked at when you look at these open immigration policies from the far left. It's not actually immigration that matters, but what you're really looking at is open jurisdiction and open enrollment into a heavily statist and socialist system, and whether or not the people that they are enrolling are actually paying into the system is of course not their concern, because the entire point of this charade is that it's not voluntary. Those who have paid attention to this for the last 15 years know that this isn't a conspiracy theory or a warning, it's something we already see happening. Let's just use New York City as an example, and look at New York City from two different perspectives. Let's say that somebody wants to invite their aunt.
What's new, man? Not much. Just been playing Minecraft, you know. And Outlast Trials.
From some foreign country to stay with them for a couple weeks.
Just
as a
normal
vacation.
stuff.
Would you be against this? No. In fact, I'm pretty sure that even people on the Groyper right who believe in fully closed borders and completely deporting everybody who isn't a U.S. citizen, even many of them probably wouldn't be against someone just coming to visit as a vacation in a voluntary association with somebody else who already lives here. And
Oh yeah, yeah. In the Groyper future, people are gonna go to Nazi America. Yeah, gonna get killed. Yeah, yeah, dude. If Groypers control the country, I'm sure that everybody is gonna want a vacation here. Yeah, man.
Property. Which is not so much people visiting or coming in that is the problem, but rather it's a lack of social trust and aggression that happens when you have open enrollment. Because on the flip side of this, you have this post I made a while back on total libertarian vindication, with the data overwhelmingly showing that those who are foreign-born that got to vote in the election, in regards for Mamdani, you know, the open socialist, well, the foreign-born people overwhelmingly voted for him. And this is the issue of open enrollment. Open borders is not the same thing as open enrollment. Under open enrollment and open citizenship, the state borders are still very much there.
Yeah, dude, this is well documented for a long time. Okay, yeah. Immigrant families are interesting because when they move here, the first generation, they overwhelmingly vote for left-wing candidates. But by the third generation, immigrant families, it's reverse. They overwhelmingly vote Republican. Very interesting. Wow.
The state's claim to land has not been invalidated. Rather, quite the opposite has happened. The voter cattle needed to justify the increase of the state have simply been imported. And if we think of a more libertarian society and compare this, we'd see the fraud for what it is. If you were, say, a member of a mutual aid society, or in other words, a private welfare system, where association with it is voluntary rather than compulsory, like it is under socialist systems that Mamdani pushes, well, imagine if you were a member of one of those mutual aid societies, and you got a note from your CEO telling you that your membership fees are being doubled in order to pay for people coming in from Somalia who are almost entirely net naked in what they put into the mutual aid fund and what they take out. And the CEO says that this is justified to pay for the sins of colonialism 100,000 years ago. Would you stay in this mutual aid fund, or would you cancel your contract and find a different one?
Yeah, but that's not what happens in real life, man. Wait, if that were the case, I guess there would be a bunch of unemployed immigrants everywhere. Oh, wait. Actually, immigrants do more production than any other ethnic group in this country. Wow.
Of course, you almost certainly cancel your contract and find a different one. This kind of lunacy we're seeing with the open enrollment communist cage system that communists are pushing is a complete and total obvious violation of freedom of association. It's not actually open borders, but rather is an aggressive grift where those who are native to the system and have been paying into the system for years are effectively being forced at gunpoint to pay for people who cannot actually pay their way and have instead just been imported in order to justify the increase of the state. And that is why I say open enrollment is not open borders. The state borders are still very much there in this case.
No, ma'am.
Being used to aggressively extract.
They're imported to exploit them. Immigrants produce more per capita in this country than any other group of people.
Population. And of course, the communist strategy is to duplicate this throughout the entire globe while pretending like they care about people's rights.
You can only believe this shit if you ignore that fact.
And so the bordertarian position doesn't actually believe that the state should exist just to enforce the border, but rather it is just the recognition that closed borders is less aggressive than open enrollment. It's effectively recognizing it as the lesser evil, which isn't actually pragmatic at all. Just as long as you recognize that it's the lesser evil and thus still bad, and that there's thus still a need to offer an alternative strategy or an alternative solution, even if politically nobody's listening to you. And that's why I think libertarians at least should lean more towards the strategy on immigration of pushing for the abolition of these welfare programs. And this is where the bog conservatives are wrong. I see a lot of the bog conservatives, the standard conservatives and Groypers, they want to get rid of immigration and do mass deportations, but they don't want to actually reduce the welfare state that is attracting the wrong kind of immigrants. Of course, uneducated people from the third world are going to keep trying to get in when you have this kind of open enrollment scheme. Getting rid of immigration without getting rid of that doesn't really do much. In fact, it's generally to the detriment because immigrants who are actually coming to work and not just mooch off the system, well, the facts and data are in for that. When you have libertarian immigration, that immigration overwhelmingly adds to the economy. But rather, the problem is open enrollment into statist programs, well, it just kind of naturally breeds resentment because those who are net payers into the system cannot voluntarily disassociate from the system when that system is then being used to pay for their replacement. But on the flip side, open borders libertarians need to recognize that open enrollment is essentially in a form of aggression. There is no actual political faction that has any level of real institutional control that is offering a border policy policy that does not include some kind of aggression. And that is kind of the crap show that we're in. And that's why the open borders versus closed borders question is so much more difficult and complicated than a lot of people make it out to be. Anyways, that's all I have to say. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and if you like my content,
it's really nuanced, guys.
Or by buying some merch.
We have to send brown people to concentration camps. It's really nuanced.
Everything still hurts. But I'm doing okay. I will get by, whether or not yet.
Well,
I would like to say thank you to people who have helped and will help in the future. It really does help a lot.
I'm glad that your surgery went well, man. Still, I fucking hate you. Alright? Glad you're not dead.